Voice of the customer, business, and employee. Identify the customer. Six Sigma quality is built around the customer. Everything starts and ends with customers. They define quality and set expectations. They rightfully expect performance, reliability, competitive prices, on-time delivery, service, and clear and accurate transaction processing. At times, the customer of the project may not be as evident as initially thought. The receiver of the next operation, an internal department, could be thought of as a customer. The external customer of a process could be the purchaser. But yet, if the purchaser is a distributor, then they may not really be the true customer. The primary customer of the process will or should have the highest impact on the process. The primary customer is of utmost importance to the process. The sorting out of the primary customer may take some discussion on the team's part. The question of who is the customer may bring out discoveries of which customers make us money. That is, are there certain customers that make up the bulk of company revenues? Is there a small proportion of customers that simulate the Pareto law? The case being that 80% of the revenues come from 20% of the customers, or that 80% of the net profit comes from 20% of the customers. Customers can constitute current happy customers, current unhappy customers, lost customers, competitors' customers, prospective customers. The following are methods to collect information and data from customers or would-be customers: surveys, focus groups, interviews, complaint systems, market research, shopper programs. The traditional methods of obtaining customer information could also include targeted and multi-level surveys, targeted and multi-level interviews, customer scorecards, data warehousing, data mining, customer audits, supplier audits, quality function deployment. The information gathered should allow the organization to identify customer requirements and to spot upcoming trends. The trends will be new ways for the company to gain or retain customers. Customers seem to be more satisfied if they receive feedback than if they do not receive feedback. Clearly, the voice of the customer is critical to business success. Likewise, green belts and black belts must consider how both internal and external customers can be identified and what their requirements might be in order to understand and improve the business process. The relationship that management can develop with either basic customer type will affect the company's ability to be effective in delivering customer satisfaction. Internal customers. An internal customer can be defined as anyone in the company who is affected by the product or service as it is being generated. The internal customer is sometimes forgotten in the effort to produce an item or service for the external customer. The immediate goal should be to produce the product or service in a simple and convenient manner for internal consumption. The effort to remember to do things in a specific way, to be trained properly, to be given the proper equipment, or to be given specific instructions can often be neglected. Internal customers are often employees of the company. Kaoru Ishikawa in 1985 coined the next operation as customer in order to remove the sectionalism of departments towards each other. The essential idea is to enable employees of all departments to come together to solve problems. Staff members such as design, manufacturing, purchasing, project, and plant engineering must consider themselves as service providers. Otherwise, the staff members are in constant struggle with the line management and employees, and nothing gets done. Within a company, the staff should consider what kind of work they can perform for the line departments. Research has shown that management practices relate to employee satisfaction, which also impacts customer satisfaction. When employees are satisfied with their treatment, given the right tools to do the job, and supported by management, customers are more likely to have higher perceptions of quality and will continue to do business with the company. Internal employee communications for customer satisfaction can be improved through the following options: company newsletters, basic information, corporate news, storyboards, a wallboard display, memos, letters, projects, etc., team meetings, share business news or announce new events, posting customer letters of appreciation or dissatisfaction, staff meetings, share the information, display of goals, progress charts, etc., quality awards from customers. To stay competitive in this environment, a constant schedule of training for the entire workforce is required. Typical employee training must focus on helping them to do their job better. External customers. External customers are not part of the organization but are impacted by it. End users, intermediate customers, and impacted parties are described in more detail below. Generally, external customers play a critical role by providing the major portion of company revenues. End users. The category of external customers includes those that purchase a product or service for their own use. In this case, they would be the end user of the product. Intermediate customers. Intermediate customers purchase the product or service and then resell, repackage, modify, or assemble the product for sale to an end user. These channels can provide volume sales opportunities for a business, but will have significantly different requirements than end users. Examples of intermediate customers in other areas include retailers, distributors, manufacturers' reps, wholesalers, and transport companies. Impacted parties. The third external category are those who did not purchase or use the product but are impacted by it. The impacted parties for an educational system might include parents, service companies who hire students, communities, vocational schools, city governments, colleges and universities, civic groups, and service companies who are suppliers. Meeting external customers' needs can be a complex process. External customer identification. External customers may be sorted in many ways in an attempt to better understand their requirements and identify possible market niches. Business customers can include for-profit and not-for-profit enterprises. Examples of not-for-profits might include schools, hospitals, public agencies, etc. The various customer groups could also be reviewed for high profit margin, competition in market, risk of market, growth in market. The consumer customer market differs from the business market as follows. The consumer market has a large number of customers. The majority of consumer purchases are small in actual dollar amounts. The transaction is usually a simple purchase. Most consumers are not very knowledgeable about the product. The supplier does not share proprietary information with the consumer. In contrast, the business customer acts in the following manner. There are a very small number of business customers, maybe only one. The amount purchased per transaction is quite large. The purchase is handled through specialized personnel. The customer may know more about the requirements than the producer. The supplier may allow the customer access to all sorts of information. It is also important to look at the market for the next 2 to 5 years and estimate how it will change and grow. This requires a look at all potential customers and their requirements.